Hey everybody and welcome. So the plan for today is I'm going to be watching and discussing the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City Leon Kennedy character vignette. It should be Leon S. Kennedy. You never leave the S out. Never, ever. But I'm also going to be watching the third trailer, or I guess more accurately, the new TV spot that has some new footage in it. And I'm going to be discussing them both. If you're among my subscribers on my channel, then you already know the drill. There's getting to be more and more of you guys. It's amazing. There's a whole gaggle of you guys out there. It's great. But yeah, I'm not going to waste a lot of time. Although I will say, I'm a little nervous about doing this Leon video because it's just going to get nasty at some point in the comments because somebody's going to be pissed off by what I say. Everybody might be pissed off by what I say. I don't know. But I know somebody out there is not going to be happy by whatever gets said. Just hopefully everybody understands that everybody else has opinions. Criminy. We should not need disclaimers just to talk about things. But I digress. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Raccoon City is very much an origin story. So we see Leon Kennedy's journey. For fans, Leon's an action hero, but we really wanted to go back to the original second game, where he's quite a nerdy, reluctant hero.
Guys.
So I literally know nothing about this actor. I've never seen him in anything. All I know is he was in some kids show called like Victorious or I Victorious or something like that. So the only time I'm hearing his voice or seeing him has been in these trailers, and it's only been in little snippets here and there. This is by far the most we've seen of him. And you know, there's gonna be people out there who like this actor being cast as Leon just because he's not white. The same as there's gonna be people who hate him just because he's not white. For me, I'm just kind of looking at it like, okay, well, he got the job, so let's see what he can do. And I'm just kind of sitting here like he better act his ass off to win people over. But I'm not getting a whole lot of actual like Leon energy from the guy thus far. I think I said it in my very first video, but looking at him with the long hair and the RPD uniform, he actually reminds me way more of Kevin from Resident Evil Outbreak. But yeah, I'm trying to keep an open mind. I just wish they could have given him the Leon haircut and shaved the facial hair. Like, I know there were a lot of complaints when the initial promo photos first released about the costumes. People said that they look cheap and everything. I wasn't really seeing it, but the more I see of the movie, I'm like, something looks off with the costumes. Like across the board, the costumes almost look too baggy on almost every character. Like Chris's vest looks massive. Leon's kind of swimming in his RPD uniform. Claire's jacket looks like it's too big on her. And it's not something I noticed until I started seeing them, in motion in these trailers. Maybe it's a budget thing? I don't know, but let's continue.
It was really important to cast the actor that could bring Leon Kennedy to life. We did not want someone that looked identical to the games but had no emotional connection.
Okay, so I understand that. Obviously, every director wants the best person to work with, to act, to play the character that they envision. But I honestly find it really hard to believe you couldn't find an actor who both looked like Leon and could act well enough to pull it off. I'm sorry, I just find it hard to believe. Like, who was the casting director on this? How much effort did they put into the casting process? How many actors did they screen for the role of Leon? Those are just the kind of things I wonder about, because they know by now how many people were gonna be upset by this kind of thing. Hollywood knows. They don't care, but they know. They could have played it safe, and they didn't. And some people will say that was a bad thing. Some people will say that's a good thing. But either way, just kind of stand back and really think about the fact that they said they couldn't find somebody who looked and acted like Leon. Come on. That sounds more like some kind of excuse. It's still entirely possible the guy, I think his name is Ivan, can just completely, knock it out of the park. But, they put the guy in an unfair position by hiring him, in a way. If this movie takes off, then yeah, he'll have a great part in a franchise that hopefully would go on for several movies at least. But if it's a flop or whatever, then a lot of that blame is going to be put on him, and that's not really fair because he was just hired for a job, But yeah, I'm personally not really buying the excuse. And I know I have a different opinion on Jill's casting, but that's because I can look at, what's her name? Hannah Kamen? I can look at Hannah Kamen and see Jill, and that's because I see a very strong resemblance between her and Julia Voth. Julia Voth being the girl whose face model they used when they created RE1 Remake Jill and RE5 Jill and Umbrella Chronicles Jill, you know, that face that they used for a while, that was Julia Voth. And to me, I can look at a picture of Julia Voth and NourhanNivans, and I see a really strong resemblance, just one skin is like a couple shades darker than the other. But I mean, NourhanNivans even has blue eyes, you know, so it's not as big of a stretch. She does not have the bob cut hairdo, which is another one of those things where it's like, it was so easy to do. Like, just give her the bob cut and there would be less to complain about, you know? And even with Claire, like, it's very easy to put her hair in a ponytail, and they didn't. You know, it's just like there's just a lot of small choices that they made behind the scenes that they all kind of annoy different people and piss off different people. And to me, I mean, I'm like, yeah, the hairdos probably should have been given more effort because everybody would have resembled their character more. People would be just as pissed if Chris had shoulder-length hair, or a ponytail, or a man bun. And like, when it comes to the race thing, there's a whole lot of judgment on one side versus the other, and blah blah blah, and a lot of people calling each other racist. But at the same time, if they cast a white chick to play Ada Wong, everybody would be pissed about that too. If they cast an Asian guy to play Marvin Branagh, who I'm not even sure is in the movie, but it's just an example, everybody would be pissed about that. It would still be representation, because it would be an Asian actor getting a job, so what's the big deal? You know, there'd be tons of people complaining that a black actor lost a role if they race changed Marvin. And like in my example, if they cast an Asian actor, there'd be people saying, no, there deserves to be more Asian characters in Resident Evil. There's no problem with an Asian Marvin. And it's just like, everything has to get messy. Everything has to get messy. Am I the only one that misses when we were kids and nobody gave a shit about anybody else's race? There was nobody who looked exactly like me. I didn't give a shit. I didn't even notice. This kind of crap's only been brought to my attention in the last, 4 years, when everybody's obsessed with race and gender and who sleeps with who. And I'm just sitting here like, can we just talk about Resident Evil? There's a new movie coming out. Looks kind of cool. Hey, that Into the Spider-Verse 2. I hope that's as good as the first one was. You know? Everything's gotta be so messy and controversial. I mean, within the comments section on the same comment section, I was called both a racist and practically called an SJW by two different people within the same comment section. Like I said, everything has to be controversial. Everything has to be politically charged, racially charged. It's fucking old at this point. And just FYI, if I see anybody calling anybody else racist in my comment section, that shit's not gonna fly with me. It's just gonna get deleted. You know, me just not knowing anything about this particular actor, I'm like, yeah, show me that you can play the part.
Woo! The fans are going to be happy with this movie because it's pulling very much from the games. Shall we go?
Man, they're really pushing that line. I think every single one of these vignettes has had that line. They've had the actors say, we're pulling directly from the games. It's going to be like the games. It's kind of being overused at this point.
Throughout the movie, we see Leon become the character that gamers will recognize.
A rocket launcher? Found it in first class.
Yeah, did you buy it from the merchant? I mean, I'll admit, that particular line and that smile and everything, like, that has the energy of Resident Evil 4 Leon. I mean, if they cast him for the future, like, he's good at being one-liner Leon, then maybe they should have just waited till Resident Evil 4 got an adaptation? I don't know. Just me being somebody who was on the fence being like, okay, just show me he can play the character. Nothing in this vignette showed me he's playing original RE2 Leon like they keep saying. You know, even the director keeps saying nerdy, geeky. I don't get that from this actor at all. Granted, only seen little snippets here, like I've said. But still, you'd think in a vignette where they're emphasizing that they would show little clips that emphasize that. So I don't know. But yeah, this was always going to be controversial casting no matter what. And like I said, even if he does knock it out of the park, there's going to be people who hate him for it. Just like if he happens to suck, there's going to be people who try to claim he's the best thing there is. That's just the way the world is. But yeah, I do want to point something out. Let's see. It was pointed out to me by a commenter that here we see Leon and Jill on the train together. So Jill is, and Chris obviously, because he had the rocket launcher line, which was also on the train. Jill, Chris, Leon, Claire, presumably Sherry, all escape on the same train. That kinda prevents Resident Evil 3 from happening, which is rumors we've heard before. But it is seeming more likely that Nemesis is going to be skipped over. And I know that's going to disappoint a whole hell of a lot of people. And even me, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily have made that choice, even though I am dying to see a Code Veronica adaptation or remake. I'd be just as happy with a Code Veronica remake game as opposed to a movie. But yeah, this was pointed out to me.
But had no emotional connection.
That also doesn't feel like RE2 Leon. That little Han Solo squeal.
The fans are going to be happy with this movie because it's pulling very much from the games. Shall we go?
Throughout the movie, we see Leon become the character that gamers will recognize.
And here's the thing. Like, why do we have to wait for him to become the character? Why can't he just be the character? And it's bizarre. Like, why do we need to see an origin for Leon to become Leon in an adaptation of the RE2 story when we could have just seen Leon be RE2 Leon in an RE2 adaptation? You know, it's like giving us an origin for an origin during the proper origin. It doesn't make any sense. I know there's creative freedom and creative liberty and, you know, all that good stuff. But at the same time, there's a reason the Resident Evil franchise has lasted this long. To have 9 mainline titles, because Code Veronica is a main game, it's not a spin-off. Only reason it didn't have a number was for some contract dispute, supposedly. So 9 main games, who knows how many spin-offs, just so many spin-offs of hugely varying degrees of quality. It's lasted this long because of the fans, so maybe don't piss the fans off while you're trying to reach the normie audience, the general audience. You know? I don't know. Like, don't rock the boat where it isn't completely necessary, you know? Okay, now we're on to the new TV spot, which has some pretty great new footage. And something that might make a lot of people happy.
Evil, welcome to Raccoon City.
Several years ago, in Raccoon City, I found out the truth about the Umbrella Corporation.
What is this place?
This is where they were experimenting on him.
What the?
Okay, so what is this? What is this right here? Those really long fingers looking kind of claw-like. And what is this? What is this? Is that Chi Birkin first form? It is. That's pretty cool. I was so happy to see that they're not going to skip that form. I figured, you know, just for the sake of streamlining things and not making, you know, more CGI models than they needed to, that they would just skip from human Birkin to not fully mutated Birkin, but just unrecognizable mutant Birkin, if you know what I mean. And it's just great to see that they're not skipping first form Birkin. He obviously looks a little different. Let's go back there. Yeah, there we go. But I'm happy. Granted, instead of one giant eyeball, it looks like you got several smaller eyeballs on the shoulder. I am happy to see the first form here, though.
We have to stop Umbrella. This is just the beginning.
And look here, the CGI on, what is this, G4 Birkin? We don't know how many times he'll mutate, but look how much better this CGI looks compared to the initial trailer. I was skeptical that that was unfinished CGI just because the trailer released so close to the movie release date. But I guess it also depends on how long they had been sitting on that first trailer and everything. But look how much better this is. It looks way less cartoony.
We have to stop Umbrella. This is just the beginning.
Even here, this is the same shot that was in that first trailer, and it looks so much better. It looks fantastic. I'm so happy to see this. Ooh, also look on his chest. You can see Birkin's human face on his chest. At least I think so. I'm, like, basically legally blind, so I could be wrong. That was a joke, by the way. I'm not, you know, my eyesight isn't that bad, but it is horrible. But yeah, that looks like Birkin's human face on the chest there. I'm so happy, and this just makes me even more excited for the movie, because people seem to misunderstand me. I'm not down on this movie. I'm looking forward to it. I've just accepted the fact that there's going to be bits that I don't like, and there's going to be bits that I do like. There might even be bits that I love. But no, I'm excited for this movie. It's just my video about the very first trailer. I had such a bad first impression with that trailer because I watched just a crappy version of it that had, you know, the giant text when everybody spoke. Not subtitles, but I mean, watch the video and you'll see. But no, I was a little pessimistic in that video, but ever since then, with everything I've seen, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Show me the movie.
Resident Evil, welcome to Raccoon City. Rated R. Exclusively in movie theaters November 24th.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this and show this off to anybody who hasn't seen it already. I'm sure somebody's been pissed off and offended by something I've said. Honestly, I have to say, I just don't care at this point. People get pissed off at things everybody says, and it's just, like, I almost just skipped over Leon's vignette, because I was like, it's just gonna stir trouble, why bother? But I'm like, no, this is my friggin' channel. I'm gonna say what I want to say. Screw it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'm Baffled, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.